Hello everyone, welcome to StraightA. Dawson here, back in our video here today, and we're going to talk about the fantasy football playoffs, because for all of you, you're probably also wrapping up your season. I say wrapping up as in you're in the final stretch. Now, for most of you, it's probably going to be about 6 games left until the playoffs start. Now, normally I would try to do this video after week 10. There's one reason I'm going to do it specifically after week 9 instead of week 10, because there are some leagues as early as week 14 as a starting playoff week. So normally 16, 17 is a very common playoff week. 15, 16, 17 is pretty much just as common for bye weeks or 6-man, whatever. But then there's some leagues where I'm in a major league that's actually including a week 14 week 14 playoff because of including other leagues. Now obviously that's a little bit weird because week 14 still has some buys in it, so it's a little bit unfortunate in that regard, but it is very interesting that week 14, because I'm in a 48-man league essentially, and your 12-man has to be decided in week 15 so you can have actual playoffs against the other 3 leagues in 16, 17. So I'm including this here as the final stretch for that league, as well as kind of a more maneuvering left for the other leagues as well. So it's a good time to kind of be doing this kind of video. So I'm using the FFHub.com. It supports ESPN, Yahoo, NFL.com, Sleeper, those resources. It doesn't include CBS, so we'll talk about CBS alone because I do have a CBS league that it won't calculate itself, but it gets you percentages of basically the odds of your team making the playoffs in your fantasy football league. So we'll kind of go through this, analyze the league that I'm in, what are my chances actually, what are my kind of vibes for it, stuff like that. And before we jump into this resource, we'll actually jump into my CBS league. So in the CBS league, this is my main league, this is my half PPR league, milestone, stuff like that, and I'm currently 8-1 in the league. The next highest team is 6-3. So, and I'm doing damn good in points for. So as you see on screen, I will kind of play around with my camera as the time goes on. As you see on the screen, this is my division, the Sweat division. I am winning by like 4 wins, and I have easily right now the points for advantage, which is our current tiebreaker. And with 6 games left until the playoffs, and it's pretty damn likely I'm winning the division. I have to lose 4 of my next 6 games, and it's also including that Flamin' Dragon, IGTFW, and Duck Build all kind of start winning their games as well. Because I play these guys in the last 3 weeks of the regular season, as well as in week 12, I will get to pick one of my opponents. Because at this point, I've solidified first place heading into week 12. Because 6-3 is the highest one. I have the points for advantage, etc., etc. There's a small opportunity of window for the 6-3 team to overtake me going to week 12, but it's likely not going to happen. So I could pick an opponent of my choice in week 12, get a win there. I face off against a team this week that has an unfortunate bye. I face IGTFW with a pretty bad bye. Duck Build Platypuses doesn't have a great team. There's a lot of avenues that basically I have left to win. So it's pretty much a 95% chance I make the playoffs. And honestly, it's a really good chance I have the number 1 seed, meaning I get to pick my opponent going into the playoffs for week 1 of the playoffs. So I feel pretty damn good about my chances here. There's not really much calculations I can really do because I don't know how to do the calculator stuff with just these records here. But I mean, I have been dominating. I mean, this league right here, or this division right here, is pretty close between 2 people. Will show me your TDs and eat my shit. Probably not going to. Then you got a pretty close division in Joe Buck Yourself, Bukake, Speed Kills, Cream, and a Dream. This could go anywhere, but then one of these guys will probably also take the division or the wild card spot. So we'll see. IGTFW has been making a good comeback, so we'll see if he actually is able to. But it'll be very curious to see what the records actually end up being. But in this league, I'm pretty solidified for playoffs. So it's 1 of 1. I feel pretty good about making the playoffs in this league. Now, obviously, this is not supported by math, but luckily this is an easy one and the only one that I don't have a calculator for. So it's thankful that it's a pretty easy one to calculate in that regard. Now, going back to this, obviously you see other 7 leagues here all kind of labeled in some way. We'll start with the next one that we normally talk about, and that's King of the Cup. This is the league that starts in week 14 for the playoffs. It's 48-man, standard scoring, 4 different leagues, etc., etc. And obviously, to start the playoffs in a proper setting, they have to do week 14 as the first playoff game. Now, in this case, I am currently 10th in the league total. Not great, not great. With 5 games remaining, it's really, I can already tell you just by looking at this, being 10th seed and only having 4 teams make the playoffs, because again, that's the same case for Doggy Style. There's 1 from each division and a wild card. This one's just the top 4 teams from this make the playoffs, and it's, in Keon We Trust, I think, has solidified it, etc., etc. Whoops, don't want to go to his team. I don't care about his team right now. And then Charles Cool Team and I'm Him tied at one point. Holy fucking shit, you're loud. Why are you so loud? Why are you loud? What the fuck are you doing? Washer, fucking washer. Hopefully that wasn't too loud for y'all, but I'm going to keep that in because that's funny as hell because it kind of scared the shit out of me. Because I'm doing laundry and whatever. Either way, I'm him and Charles Cole team also have a tie, so that means they have basically like a 6-3 record, essentially, compared to, because they get the tiebreaker because they have a tie. It's so weird. Whatever, doesn't matter. Going into this, I labeled it, of course, King right here, and you can tell power rankings, playoff machine, playoff odds, and schedule comparison. So power rankings, essentially, let's look at that real quick. It just kind of does a quick little note here of determined by how many points you scored times 2, plus the points scored times winning percentage, plus points scored times winning percentage if played versus the median score of the week. So it kind of has some determination of where you should land roughly. I'm roughly somewhere in the middle, so I've had really bad luck in the league of who I faced off against. It's just unfortunate. It happens sometimes. Whatever. Then we have the playoff odds. This gives you a breakdown of what your percentage chance of making each of these total placements are. So, for example, Keon Trust, he's like 8-1 right now. He has a 99% chance of solidifying 8-1. Then we look down and we'll go to right down here, King of the Cup. It's actually his 11th right now. These are my odds for each of the playoff placements. So I have a 1% chance of making 4th place in the playoffs, 0.27 for 3rd, 0.01 for 2nd. So there is basically a 1.33% chance I make the playoffs in this league, meaning everything has to go right. I have to win out, and in a very select certain amount of steps have to happen for me to make the playoffs. So for example, we'll go to the playoff machine. Will generate that case scenario. So for example, first of all, I have to win out. King of the Cup, boom. I'm not going to do this probably every single time, by the way. I'm just going to kind of, play it roughly by ear. King of the Cup, even if I win all my games right out, I technically don't have a solidified spot because Diggs in the Blanket, I'm him, blah, blah. But if, Diggs in the Blanket needs to lose, right? So Diggs in the Blanket needs to lose, so they need to lose at least a couple games. We'll just say lose all their games. But actually, I think that's it. So now I need Cooking Up win to lose a game since they beat the other team. I beat Cooking Up wins once, but they have to lose a second time to somebody like Charles, cool team. And at that point, I maybe have a shot. But then we look at Coach Beard and say, okay, now if they win some games, I might actually be in trouble. Now, I have a lot of points for, meaning I can compete for a tiebreaker, meaning I can basically have Coach Beard lose one game. And Coach Beard already lost a game to me, meaning he has to lose 2 games total for that to happen. But then all of a sudden, Charles' good team, no, they're already in the playoffs. Never, we're good. So now I'm in a good position where I just had a hope that maybe some of these 4 and 5 teams don't win out. So there has to be a very selected number of losses for Cooking Up Wins and Diggs in the Blanket and Coach Beard, which is probably about 1 or 2 losses outside of the loss I might give them. It's a very convoluted way of making the playoffs, though it is possible, though not very likely as we see from percentage chances. Now, next up, we have, what was this league? Oh, yeah, the Superflex auto-drafted league. So if we go to the standings in this league, I'm not doing too well in here. I am 9th place, so slightly better, and my points for is not awful. It's not great, but it's not awful. I have 1209. Actually, I have the highest points for in the league. Besides Texan. No, it's points against. Wow, I just can't read. 1079. I was about to say, that does not sound right. 1079. So I don't have awful one, so I can kind of compete for that 6th spot pretty easily for a tiebreaker, but I can't really compete against these top 5 teams very, very well. And I already didn't feel good about King of the Cup. I feel slightly better about this one because I believe I have a good roster. But let's actually see if I am actually crazy or not. So I labeled this one as Chase, as in for Chase the Dream. Let's look at where my power rankings are. How good of a team do I have? Lower half, but I guess that's respectable. I'll take it, whatever. Playoff odds. What are my chances of making the playoffs? I currently have a 9.2% chance of making the playoffs, essentially. That's not awful. 9.2. I've seen crazier things happen. 6 teams do make the playoffs in this league, and it's just top 6. Top 6, and then week 15 is when the league starts the playoffs because they get 2 bye weeks, then 2 games in a row. So I have to win 3 games in a row at the very end, so that's very unlikely I win. But there is still actually a decent chance. So I'm guessing I have to win out pretty much. So we'll just go to the playoff machine now, kind of mimic this one as well. So let's say I win out, chase the dream, chase the dream, chase the dream, chase the dream, boom, and then finally chase the dream. So then if I win out, I pretty much have a pretty solid chance of making the playoffs, but I do require at least 1 loss from Pippin, Poopy, and Marino, even before I'm kind of considered in the playoff picture in terms of like odds, stuff like that. And of course, there's still some top teams that probably play these teams. So it's very, very curious. I still play some very good teams as well. So it's not very good chance I still make it. But depending on how things go, I have a much better chance in this league than other leagues. And this is chasing the dream. So this is a league I didn't have much hope for throughout. In fact, I'm still in it going into 6 games left. We'll see. But very cool to see indeed. Then we have a league that is a PPR 10-man league. It's Sigma Chi. It's my Sigma Chi league, so it's a little bit less formal. We'll look at the standings. I'm technically in the playoff picture right now as the 4th seed. So we have two 6-3 teams and one 8-1 team, and multiple 5-4 teams. But my points for are pretty damn good. 1135, which is pretty much one of the better ones in the league. So like 3rd in the league in points for, which is the tiebreaker once again. Top 4 make the playoffs going into week 16. So I have like 5 games, 5 games left. 6 games left before the playoffs actually start. So I have a little bit of time in this one too, but my odds of making the playoffs are pretty good. I named it Sigma for being a Sigma. No, but I do have one of the better power rankings. No, go figure. Balls and Optus Prime Time. These were kind of my predictions of 2 of the best teams. Doesn't surprise me that they are. They've turned out pretty good. Playoff odds now. Let's go to that. What are my playoff odds to make the playoffs? So it's very unlikely I win the number 1 seed. On pretty much 80% chance of Optimus Primetime making it. But I have a 29, 39, 49, 47, 51. I have an over 50% chance of making the playoffs with my current record and everything standing as it is. So I feel pretty good about this. I think my team is really matched up well. And honestly, I feel like I'm going to be in the higher side of at least 3rd placing, because I don't think Squanchy is going to win as many games, and I think Balls also has a tough schedule. Also, Primetime pretty much going to solidify that 1st and 2nd spot, so I'm not, overly optimistic about that. But pretty much at this point, I just need to win out. So we're not going to look at the playoff calculator and all that. I have a 51% chance of making it. So I essentially have now 2 leagues. This one's not for much money. This is $5 buy-in, so it's like $30 or whatever for the winner. So not big buy-in, but we'll take 2. We'll take 2 of my leagues that I'm going to at least make the playoffs right now. 2 of my 4. That's kind of where we're at. We'll then jump to the 16-man league, just kind of get this out of the way. 16-man standard scoring, really, really tough in general league. I always forget how to navigate NFL. I really don't love the NFL.com fantasy thing. I'm currently 7th in the league. Right now, the playoff picture is the top team from each division, and then 4 wild cards in between the 2 divisions. So it's week 14, week 15 that starts. So I have a few more games. Not looking too hot. My points for pretty awful, so I have to kind of get lucky with some wins, and I do have a tough schedule coming up, so we'll see how that actually pans out. Lots of good teams from the other division as well for those wild card spots, so it's not extremely likely that I make it. I'm on a losing streak. Lost 3 games in a row, so it's not looking too good for the protagonist here. But let's check how bad it really is. So let's check for one of my power rankings. How good of a team do I really have? And I am Ayuk in here. I have a easily bottom half team, it's saying here. My points for it has not done me a service there. So let's not talk about that one too much. My playoff odds, though. What are the chances I make the playoffs for this league? 6 people, like I said. I have a 5% chance, a 2.5%, so that's 7.5%, 8%. Essentially adding up to about 8.5% chance of making the playoffs total. That's insane. Wow. That's a lot lower than I thought it was. Because I was like number 1 seed like 2 weeks ago, and it just has fallen from grace for me. I think I was 2 seed 2 weeks ago and 1 seed 3 weeks ago. Whatever. This is insane. So of course this doesn't necessarily calculate like the actual teams I'm facing, stuff like that, but I can not currently win out and make the playoffs. But at least I'm assuming. So let's go actually into the playoff machine, just to kind of hyperbolize what my current outlook is. So if I win out, what are the kind of odds here? Boom, bada, bing, bada, boom. And of course, it doesn't tell us odds, but it kind of gives us an idea of like, am I in the top talk? So like 10-4, I would require like fantasy ain't easy to lose a game, and B Mafia essentially to lose a game to be in the kind of picture. So B Mafia would have to lose a game. So there's still a lot of good odds as long as I win out, but how likely is it for me to win out? Because I also, again, face some very good teams that are in that playoff picture. B Mafia, White Walker of the North, Zion City. Zion City's not in the playoff picture, I don't think. Not sure yet. Not in the playoff picture, I don't think. Oh, there he is. So I face like 4 contenders. Freddie P, Freddie P's not in this. So I play, I play like three of the three contenders, and I need to win all of them to even keep these odds. Now, granted, this is not considering all these other games that could happen. So I think it's better chances in my head for this, and I do have some upside with some of my players, but the upside got to turn around real quick. So my running back room is very, very thin. So it's very little chance. I'm not going to count this one as definitely making the playoffs, even though like 2 weeks ago I probably would have. But man, this is a tough one. 16 men is not for the faint of heart, is what I've learned. And that's what I really like about this series so far, is that I've learned a lot about fantasy football and how to play, how to approach it, stuff like that. So I'm very, very happy in that regard. Then we'll go into my Yahoo leagues. Go into some of these standings, stuff like that. So Swift Justice, half PPR league. I'm not doing very good. I'm 8th in the league. I'm in a tougher division. This is a 6-man playoff. So, no, this is a 4-man playoff. My bad. This is a 10-man team, a 10-man league, right? Is that what I'm reading? 10-man league, 4-man playoff, and I'm 8th. Now, there's still a lot of time. There's still some time. So, I'm not going to just sit here and say I'm totally out of it. I don't have very good points for. I have actually the weakest team in points for in the league. I guess I've just gotten lucky with my points against, which I guess I have. So, I'm not really looking forward to seeing how this league gets interpreted into the playoff thing. So no turning back. Power rankings are likely going to be one of the last teams on this list. Yeah, I'm 11th in terms of power rankings, so that's not cool. So my odds already probably not going to look too good. So but let's look at our playoff odds. Let's look at it. Swift Justice. What we got? We got a 2.78 chance of making the playoffs. Does not surprise me. 4 teams in a 10-man league. A lot of stacked teams ahead of me too. I know there's three teams that feel very, very good about making it. Get Swifty, I know is definitely making it, and then Joe Ma and Hurt So Good, both very, very strong teams. Even James Grant team could easily make this. Really, it's just a competition between those 4, and all of us are kind of trying to make a case for ourselves. No one's knocked out of it yet, but it's not looking great. So we won't really talk about this one too much, but we'll quickly look through the playoff machine, see if if I win out, maybe if I do that. Maybe I get a little bit more. Oh, I play Get Swifty. Oh, that's not good. Swift Justice, and then Swift Justice. Wherever I am. Boom. If I do that, I top the playoffs, but I also kind of require... If I win out, I kind of control my destiny. I kind of do. Because... Actually, it's way better than I thought it would be. So if I win out, I actually do control my destiny, kind of. Because I do face some crucial teams, and essentially Hurt So Good could probably knock me out of that second spot right now, but I would still kind of be in the competition with James Grant team, but it requires winning out in this league. So it's very possible, and actually better odds than I think. So I'm not going to count myself out of this one yet, but I'm also not going to say I'm kind of in the playoffs at this point. So I at least see two leagues I feel pretty good about. There's 2 leagues I now don't feel very good about, and there's 2 leagues I feel very good about. So that's kind of a good 6 total spots I feel all right about. And we do have a 12-team PPR league, which I am doing damn good in. I think this is the one. Yeah, it's 12-team PPR. I'm doing damn good in. I'm 6-3. I'm 2nd in the league. I feel very good about my odds in this one because points for is obviously the tiebreaker. I'm in a very good division, but I've been getting points for. I'm one of the highest in points for, like 3rd or 4th in points for. Very good team. I have a lot of my waiver left. I'm in a very good spot. I have a very good team that gets me a lot of PPR points. And so I feel very, very good about my chances of making the playoffs overall. But let's look at it. I'm actually curious. What is my power ranking? Am I like 2nd, 1st, 3rd? I'm actually 4th in power rankings, weirdly enough. I guess I don't have the most points for, so I guess that hurts me. And a lot of teams have good records in this league, so I can see that. Playoff odds, though. This is what we came for. I have and 6 teams make the playoffs in this league, so I actually have very, very good odds. It's actually easier to calculate probably not making the playoffs, but we'll calculate this one. So 20% there, 31.8, 45 basically, 45, 55, 60, 7, 45, 50, 70 points, and 87.8. So I have essentially made the playoffs in this league as well. I'm not too worried about it. I forgot 6 people do make it. I would love a bye week, though. Oh, I would love a bye week, which I have a 37% chance of getting a bye week. So cross our fingers on that one. So we'll see if that happens, but I like it. I like it. It's kind of weird that like Swing and a Miss probably has higher overall playoff odds of making it, but I have Oh, it calculates it right here on the end. Wow. But I have higher odds to get the playoff or the top seeds. So very, very awesome and cool. Cool stuff. I like seeing this. So that's 3 leagues now. I feel very good about making the playoffs. I think this was my lower buy-ins though, so that's unfortunate. No Turning Back is like the middle ground league, I think, of like I kind of feel all right with it. It's a 12-man league, 6 teams make the playoffs. I'm 4-5 and 6th place. So I essentially control my destiny is what we really, really know about this. In 6th place, top 6 make it. I have a decent amount of points for it, but not like a great one. My team's all right, but not great. So it's like a weird team. So I'm actually this one's I'm very, very curious about with power rankings of like where do I kind of rank in that odds. So pretty much right outside the playoff picture. I rank in terms of total power rankings. Now, about playoff odds, what do we kind of look like there? And I know I'm blocking kind of all this now. I realize I've probably been blocking it the whole time, so hopefully I haven't been doing it the whole time. Either way, doesn't matter too much. I've been kind of stating the facts here. Air raid offense, I have a 40% chance of making the 6th seed, but then it kind of drops off pretty quick after that. It's like 46, basically about 47% chance of making the playoffs. So I still have a very, very good shot of making it, but not like 100. It's not 50%. So technically, I don't have good odds, but I think looking at this, I feel good about making the playoffs of this. So I pretty much have solid. It's actually saying I have a 40% chance of making the 4th seed, which is the highest chances of anybody for the 6th seed. So I'll take it. So it's 4 leagues. I can really have good chances of making the playoffs. 2 that are kind of like a good, like a generally good shot of like, you're like in that 15% range where you can kind of reach for a 15%, but it requires some things going right. And 2 leagues that are kind of like, you're probably not making the playoffs, but you can always try. But we're not out of it in any of them yet. And I highly encourage y'all to use this resource. This is awesome. It's really fun to play with. And especially next year, I have some awesome ideas for some fantasy football content. Incorporating it into my other leagues as well. I'm excited. I'm excited for fantasy football. I'm excited for football in general. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'll see y'all in the next one.